Alrighty, so before I do the season preview of the Columbus Crew, I just want to quickly mention that I'm going to actually be out of town in these next couple of days. I'm actually not going to be coming back until Monday evening. So for these next couple of days, because I still want to upload content on my channel, I'm going to pretty much pre-record some of these season preview. And one of the tricky part about pre-recording season preview is that, there's some big signings that is going to be happening in these next couple of days of the next couple of teams that I'll mention. Yeah, it's going to be very outdated in terms of how these season preview go. So before you actually put in the comment section below in terms of the fact that why did I not talk about this big signing that this team made? Well, that's because this was recorded before that big signing has happened, and it's also a good time to for you guys to know that this is pre-recorded on January 23rd on Thursday. This video probably will be uploaded on Friday, and then I think I'm gonna do two more season preview that will be uploaded on Saturday and also Sunday. But with that being said, let's now talk about the Columbus Crew. And the good news about the Columbus Crew is I don't really have to worry about them potentially making a big splash signing, unless if they really want to do so. Because this team, just like the Colorado Rapids, are pretty much set heading into this season. It feels like they are running it back heading into the season, and why not? Because this team is stacked from top to bottom, and this team has a lot of depth as well. That they really don't need to make too much adjustment, and that once again the mentality for this season for Wilfried Nancy's side is they're going to try to win everything heading into this year. Now, last season they finished in second with a 19-9-6 record and finished with 66 points, but unfortunately they ran out of gas in the playoffs, losing the first round against the New York Red Bulls, and they also are going to thank Inter Miami in terms of kind of distracting the people, thinking that Columbus also suffered probably the most embarrassing playoff series loss, because if it wasn't for the Inter Miami epic collapse, you could say that Columbus was not only the most disappointing team in the playoffs, but probably involved in the wrong end of one of the biggest, if not the biggest upset we have ever seen in MLS playoff history. But that being said, despite that, they did win the Leagues Cup in 2024, and in terms of the head coach, obviously it's Wilfried Nancy, though there were definitely questions whether or not if he was coming back heading into this season. There's been a lot of sources saying that he could potentially return to France, especially I think Saint Etienne was really looking to bring him back to France, but in the end, Wilfried Nancy says no, he's going to stay with the Columbus Crew. But there's no doubt that I would not be surprised as this team continue to find some success that there's going to be more European team that is looking to try to get Wilfried Nancy, and something tells me Columbus might not have a lot of year left before Wilfried Nancy is going to be poached by one of the big European team, at least in France, that is in the foreseeable future. But he's been there since 2023. Now, in terms of the GM, it's actually Isa Paul, who, of course, took over for Tim Benchenko, that left in the middle of last year, but he's been there since 2024. Now, when it comes to transfer, again, this team very quiet this all season when it comes to the players that is currently in and also no longer with this team. Again, as I said, this team is pretty much just running it back heading into this upcoming season. But they did re-sign Evan Bush this off season, and then the only real signing that they brought in is Lassi Lappanainen as a free agent. And as I mentioned, this is not a big surprise in signing, because Wilfried Nancy, he's definitely trying to bring a couple of his former Montreal guys, and when Lassi Lappanainen was with Montreal under Wilfried Nancy, he looked relatively well, and we know that Wilfried Nancy can really turn some of those former Montreal player and fits into the system. And even though he's probably not going to be a regular starter, he's more of a depth piece. I think that's a really good depth piece, especially with the way that if he is going to be the guy to come off the bench and with the speed that he has, yeah, defenders, they got to watch out for it, because just as you had enough in terms of dealing with Diego Rossi and even Cucho Hernandez, here comes a speedy Lassie Lappanainen, and you're already very tired by the time when we hit minute 70. And then they also recently signed a new homegrown in Stanislav Lefkits recently. Now, in terms of players that no longer on this team, you got Keegan Hughes, who had his option declined. They still have not renewed the contract of Alexandro Matana. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought that he was going to be bought back for another season, though we'll see whether or not if they will do that in the foreseeable future. And they also declined the option of Yoboa, though Yoboa is not coming back to the Columbus Crew. It's already been announced a couple of days ago that he signed with LAFC. So yeah, that's really the only transfer that they have made this off season. But looking at the first 5 games of the season, so as I mentioned in the Chicago season preview, they got the Greg Berhalter derby between the and the Chicago Fire. Greg Berhalter, of course, plays against his former team and a team that really kind of made himself a name and was one of the big part of getting the national team job. Then they go on the road to play against New England before returning home to play against Houston. Then they go on the road to play against San Diego FC before returning home to play against NYCFC. So a relatively easy start to the schedule for Columbus. They're definitely some winnable games. Won't be surprised if they can even go 5 for 5 to be in the season. Last 5 games, they go on the road to play against Atlanta before returning home to play against Toronto. Then they go on the road to play against Chicago before going on the road again to play against Orlando City. But the final game of the season on decision day is a rematch of last year first round playoffs. And I'll tell you what, if this is going to be a matchup that could really decide the Red Bulls' fate in terms of making the playoffs, and I know that sounds crazy to say that the Red Bulls can potentially not make the playoffs next for this upcoming season when people forget that they finished seventh last season and was a team that was in an absolute free fall, and there's a question whether or not if they can avoid that again. But if there is a situation where the Red Bulls need to get a result against Columbus, I'm pretty sure Columbus is not going to try their best not to do so, and especially I'm pretty sure if you're going to get a little revenge on the Red Bulls after suffering that first round exit, a perfect way to do it is do it on decision day and basically eliminate them on the final day of the season if it of course gets to that point. Now, looking at the strength of the Columbus Crew, it's pretty much the entire team. I mean, I don't really need to mention too much. This team is so deep from top to bottom. The attack, the midfield, and defense, everything is humming. Even the goalkeeping as well in Patrick Schulte. This is one of the most well drilled team, if not the most well drilled team in MLS, and it's been that way for the last couple of years under Wilfried Nancy. The weakness, I could have easily put not really anything. Maybe the depth in terms of their defense is a little bit short, especially in the full back position. But I think it's got to be fixture congestion that is going to be a weakness. Again, this team is once again going to be playing in pretty much all the competition. They're going to be in the Concacaf Champions Cup, albeit they'll be in there a little bit later than usual after winning the Leeds Cup last year as a reward for that. But also, not to mention, if they're going to go on a deep Leeds Cup run, they're going to have to also balance MLS play, balance Cup rate as well. Oh, actually, did I say Leeds Cup? I meant CONCACAF Champions Cup run that they might go deep again like they did last season of going all the way to the final. They're going to have to balance that with MLS play and also balance Leeds Cup play as well. Basically, the fixture congestion is going to be there once again, and this is where, again, as deep as this Columbus team has had, we know that every single MLS team they're going to have this challenge in terms of balancing every competition and still do well. And this is why it's almost a miracle the fact that Columbus is able to do that last year and even in some extents the previous year as well. And they're going to have to do that again. And I trust the fact that they'll do well and that Wilfried Nancy will do everything and anything to try to balance that play like he did last season. The free big question for this team again, they're gonna once again go for all the trophy. MLS Cup, Leeds Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup, especially I think CONCACAF Champions Cup. I mean, as much as I know they want to win another MLS Cup, I think the CONCACAF Champions Cup is the trophy that they really are gunning for because anytime when you fall short in terms of winning a trophy, you absolutely want to get back into it. And I'm pretty sure Wilfried Nancy, he knows that, well, it's fun that his team won MLS Cup and Leeds Cup during his tenure. The one trophy that he really wants to win is the CONCACAF Champions Cup and trying to left the business that was unfinished last season to be finished heading into this year. And there's no doubt that they're going to be one of the team that is going to be considered to be the favorites of winning the whole competition. In fact, I think they're still the number one ranked team in the CONCACAF rankings as we speak. Will they bring another DP once they decide to bring NACB DP contract down? So this is very interesting because Darlington Nagbe, as great as a player as he is, there's a chance where Columbus might get that luxury of buying down his DP, and if that is going to be the case, man, they have another chance to add another DP, and it will be interesting to see what kind of spot that they would add in terms of the designated player spot. Like that's just absolutely unfair for a team like the Columbus Crew, where they already have embarrassing seeing of riches, that they have another chance to add another DP and make the team even more stronger. And then, of course, is Cucho Hernandez an early MVP favorite? I think he is. I mean, I think last year, I know there's been talks of him potentially moving away from Columbus. Obviously, those talks have now died down. I think he's clearly focused on once again putting another great season, and not to mention winning the MVP outright, because I'm pretty sure he was a little bit ticked off last season not winning the MVP after we know Messi, of course, won the MVP last year, though it was kind of a little bit controversial and a little bit questionable, I would say, because Messi only played half of the game. And yes, Messi put up some really incredible number, and he is the face of the league. But let's be honest, in terms of the entire season and the performance as well, I would have gone with Cucho Hernandez as the MVP. So there's no doubt he's going to be even more hungry than ever before this year, and I expect he should have another great season, and once again a guy that is going to really carry this Columbus Crew attack like he did last season. So expectation for this team, obviously, as I mentioned, MLS Cup and really any other cup competition trophy, especially the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I probably should have put CONCACAF Champions Cup at the top of the list because yes, it would be great to see this team lift MLS Cup again. I mean, with the way that they already did it a couple of years ago, it's not really kind of a top priority. What is a top priority is winning the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And as I said, with them losing to Pachuca last year in such a very disappointing way as well, because they got through all those good Mexico team, get to play against a Pachuca team that I won't say is a bad Liga MX team, but definitely not the same level as what we see Columbus taking down the two Monterrey team in the process. So there's no doubt that they really are gunning for that CONCACAF Champions Cup. And as I said, they're definitely going to be one, if not the favorites, knowing that they are the top ranked team in the CONCACAF region. But there you have it. That is pretty much it. Talking about Columbus in the season preview. As always, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this season preview? And if you're a Columbus Crew fan, what do you think is the strength, the weakness, the free big question, and your expectation is going to be heading into this season? But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.